The Tar Heels. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on how this NCAA transfer rule is currently constructed?
Well, there are a couple things. One, the transfer rule is a mess, period, because it differs from sport to sport. So the idea that competitive balance is a reason for the transfer rule is total nonsense, because there's no competitive balance reasons for other sports. Like if you're a softball player, you can go wherever you want and play right away. If you're a basketball or football player, then the school has say if you transfer, and you have to sit out if you're an undergraduate, things like that. I think the issue primarily is one of whether the athlete is truly a student to be treated like any other student or an employee. And the NCAA will tell you, and has said in federal court under oath, under penalty of perjury, that an athlete is a student who just happens to be an athlete and is to be treated like any other student. Yet if an athlete decides that he or she wishes to transfer, they're basically subject to a non-compete provision that would be in an employment contract and negotiated at arm's length for money. The idea that a school can have a say in where the student athlete transfers next, I think is unconscionable. And I think the NCAA has got a real problem with this. It is petty and vindictive, or at least looks that way. And the idea that you know, a former school can tell Cameron Johnson that he cannot play elsewhere. A summa cum laude graduate of the University of Pittsburgh. Both of his parents are graduates of the University of Pittsburgh. I can't imagine that we would see that in any other context. And the idea that he gets a scholarship and made a commitment and all this nonsense, could you imagine if, say, a Moorhead scholar at the University of North Carolina was told that he or she couldn't transfer because of an investment they made in that person? We would laugh at that and find it unconscionable. And I think it's similarly unconscionable for schools in the NCAA to allow this when we're talking about an athlete that we say is a student like any other student. They're either employees or they're students. If they're students, they should be allowed to go at the conclusion of a season, at the conclusion of competition, and they should be eligible right away at the next school.